Good morning, everybody. It's Becky here at Beck's Creations. And today we are going to do the Pearl grid. And we are using this book. And I keep forgetting to put a link to this book in the description box. So I'm going to go get the link again and go back through the videos for this crochet along kind of thing where we're learning these stitches together. And I will stick it in every video for this so that you know where this is coming from. And so I don't get in trouble for using it or whatever. I'm sharing a link so everybody can go purchase the book if they want to. And we are working our way through. And today is stitch 17 in the book. I can't remember which episode we're on here, but I think because we combined a couple, I think we're like at 16, I think is what I typed in. So Purls grid. This airy pattern is worked with purl stitches in the upper bar. With yarn in the front, insert the hook from the back into the upper bar and crochet a Tunisian purl stitch. Before each forward row, make one extra chain and pull it tight. Chain any number of stitches. So you're going to chain any number of stitches, just like we've been doing throughout this series. If you're not sure how to do that, you need to go to the first episode in this playlist because I go over that. And so today we're going to learn this stitch. So the first thing I need to do is back up. So you always take one stitch off and then you work in twos the rest of the way. So I need to move you guys around. Hold, please. And I'll stand up while I do this. It's easier if I sit down, but I want you guys to see. And let's see here. Let's plop our green paper so my drop paper from my other projects isn't as distracting. Is that a little better? All right. So now you work off 2 at a time. And I'm just going quiet so that I can do this. I'm getting a lot of notifications popping up right now and blocking my screen. Okay. And I would not recommend a yarn that's kind of loosely, see how that's split? If it's not wound real tight or whatever they call that, you know, where it's not plied together well, this stitch is a little hard with yarns that split as you're going. All right, so my notification just now went off, so I'm sure everybody will start showing up now that's doing this. All right, so what they said is when you get over here to this side, before you start working your stitches back, they want you to take a chain in here and then draw it up tight. Draw that chain close there, then start working across. All right, so the yarn has to be at the front. So I found, hang on, let's get some yarn out here. I've found that if I and then put the working yarn under my thumb, and don't try to move it with the hook each time. Just put it down, hold it with your thumb, and then you're not going to go into that first space between the side and that first stitch. You're not going to do that one because that's what this stitch is here. But on this next bar across the top right here, you're going to come from basically the back of the stitch or the top down and go in like that. Okay, then you're going to draw up your stitch like this. Then you'll have to give it a little tug to, you know, tighten it down some, or it'll be way too loose. And then I get this with my thumb again. And then you're going to go into the next one. Like so. You have to be real careful that you're only pulling your loop through that bar stitch, because when you're first starting down here at the bottom, it's hard to see everything. And I was constantly, as I got started and was learning this at the bottom, I would pull it through there and then it would slip through the first loop I put on. So you don't want to slip through your previous loops, only the bar you've gone through. If you start having trouble because your stitches are, laying down, just give it a little tug and you can see all the stitches open up. All right. So again, I get this over my index finger, hold this down with my thumb, go through that upper bar from the back down and draw up a loop. And you just do that all the way across. The only thing you have to remember that's different on this one is you got to add that extra chain at the beginning of the row over here and get it snugged down and that kind of thing. So I'm working through the top bar, not the uprights. You're working in this section right there. Okay. See, that's where it's all laying down and it's all kind of the same color. These purl stitches, I don't know about you guys, but hello, Jess Handmade Designs. Welcome to my channel. I found when you're learning the purly type stitches that it's easier to see everything if you use a variegated yarn. I don't know about anybody else, but when I'm working just in an all solid, especially something dark, it's really hard to see the stitches, especially when it's all dark. I was trying to do some work over at my mother-in-law's last night, and her den was just too dark. Even with all the lights and lamps on, I just couldn't see. So I said, I'm just going to put this away. All right, so you're going to do this all the way across. Uh-oh, I've got too many stitches. See how I went under too far? Come out. You only want that front bar, not the whole thing. Okay. Give it a little tug to open the stitch up so you can see it. And I don't do the whole wrap around my pinky thing like a lot of people do. I find when I do that, it just irritates me more than anything. So I just have it looped over my finger and I'm kind of holding it in my fingers, but I don't do the whole weave in and out my fingers like some people do. It's like I said when we were doing the regular crochet along at the beginning of the year, you have to figure out how to hold the yarn for yourself because your hand, you've got different muscle memory than I do. You might have arthritis or something like that you've got to figure out how it's going to work for you. All right, when you get down to the end, you have to work that upper bar before you go through the side stitches. So you go through that upper bar and then you have to go through the little mountain, like I've been calling it, at the side. So I go through the side here. And see how this yarn is splitting? Oh, this is driving me crazy. Not the best choice for learning something with a purl stitch. All right, so I should have my 20 stitches on here. Let's see if I've got 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Oh, I am using a Karen Simply Soft Paints, and it's not tight, so it's splitting on me so easily. I usually love, in fact, all the other yarn we've used in these tutorials has been the Simply Soft, but there's just something about this that I don't know why it's doing that. I just thought it was odd. And again, I'm going to tell you guys again, have some grace and patience with yourself. I'm just learning these stitches with you guys. So mine even looks a little wonky. I can tell that this is one of those that if I ever want to learn it really, really well, I need to do it over and over and over again to get the tension right, to get, everything nice and even. Because if you look at the picture in the book, this is what it's supposed to look like. And I don't think mine's quite there because I think the loops, maybe if I stretched it up, it would look more like the picture. But again, I'm using variegated yarn too, but I can see the upright bars that go up and down. I can see the loops. The loops may be a little too loose is my problem. Maybe I'm working it too loose, but this is a purl grid. It looks pearly. This is what the back looks like. So I'm just going to keep going at this, doing the same thing. Like I said, remember to add that extra chain over here that they tell you to, and pull it up tight. So do you guys want me to do one more row? Good morning, Janet. I didn't know if anybody else was on, but at 10 o'clock on Fridays is when I release our next stitch. And I hadn't had a chance to really work it up. Usually I'll have a sample block, and I will have looked up somebody else doing a better tutorial than me, but this morning I just needed to get it up and going, and I didn't really have time to look and do up part of a sample. So you're gonna have to suffer through me. This yarn is driving me bonkers. When I do regular crochet with this, I don't have a problem. But learning Tunisian crochet with this particular skein of yarn has been kind of a chore this morning. All right, then this is where you want to do another chain and draw it up tight so that one that the loop you made at the end, you want to draw it down tight to your work, and now you have a fresh loop on here. Remember, skip the first space, bring your yarn forward, and we're going to go through this upper bar that runs over the second opening, only in the front one. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. I don't know. It just says the upper bar and crochet a Tunisian purl stitch. So that's what I did. And then you'll want to tighten after each stitch. And I'll look at chat and see if there's any questions. But that's pretty much the tutorial. You can rewind me, slow me down, whatever you need to do. See, I almost went through the previous loop. You have to be mindful of that. And I want to thank the people that gave me suggestions on the lighting. I was in a live chat, and somebody recommended, instead of having the light pointing down at the table, maybe have it reflect off a surface. And so it's reflecting off my ceiling at the moment. So I've got some decent light. One of the cats wanted in with me. Scott let it in. We'll see which one it is. And if you're new here, I have 5 cats in the house, but only 3 in here with me. The others are in the bonus room, the other 2. They're my son's cats, and they don't always play nice with one another. Am I going where you guys can see? Okay. Callie's looking at me from the basket like, I wish you'd hurry up with that tutorial. You're bothering me while I'm trying to sleep here. And when you're first starting your square out, I will tell you, it gave me a pickle, so take your time. I think with a little bit more practice, I would do a better job and get a very clear visual. Now remember, when you get to the end, you still have one more bar before the side right there. And you have to work that bar. This is where the splitting yarn is giving me a headache. All right, so I've got to go through that bar. And then we got to go through what I call the mountain on the side. And then draw that up. And we should have 20 stitches on our hook. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So that's the Purls grid. Good morning, Mary. So again, if you need to rewind me, play it again, you can see my block is kind of, this is one of those purl stitches that I'm just not sure. You can see where I had trouble at the beginning where this is kind of loopy, but maybe with dampening it and pinning it in place, I could get a perfect square. I don't know. We'll see if I could. But this is my sample that I've worked up this morning. And here's the picture. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what it's supposed to look like. I don't know if I'm close. I can see the bars up and down. I can see the loops, but I see how my loops look a lot looser. I'm beginning to think I'm almost too relaxed. Now I've gone to the other end and I'm too relaxed. But I'm going to keep going. This is all about learning. It's not about coming out with the most perfect thing on your first try. None of us are perfect, just as we are learning something. You know, remember when we were learning letters and we're having to learn muscle memory and all of that? This is the same thing. So that was this week's stitch. Next week we'll be doing extended simple stitch. And sometimes the pictures are helpful, sometimes not so much, but I may look for somebody else to have done that a little bit earlier in the week. So I hope everybody enjoys this stitch. I'm going to come back on with my Friday sews in a little bit. The name of the book, I'm going to look it up on Amazon and go back and put it in all of the description boxes for these videos that I've done. It's the Tunisian Crochet Basic and Textured Stitches, Volume 1 by Petra Tornak Zimmerman. And I do know this is a series of books. So this is Volume 1. Pam, I think, from Made by Pam, I think she's bought all of the books in the series. But this is the only one I'm going to do because by the time we're done with this book, we will have learned 50 stitches. It also has a pattern in the back for this interesting scarf with the buttons. And let me show you I can show you the other books in the series. I think she's got a volume 2 and 3. The volume 2 does colors and stripes, and volume 3 is colorful pattern mixes. So it was put out in 2016. She's from Germany. So we're learning from a German lady. All right. That's going to be it from me for this stitch. I like to keep these a little bit shorter, and I'm already up to 21 minutes. So I think I'm going to say goodbye. And if you guys don't mind, I'll probably do my Friday sews as a live in just a little bit. I got to pull some things together. So I'll be back on in just a few minutes or so, like 30 minutes. Bye, guys. Thank you for coming, Jess.